Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, it's me Gamerturk, and we just received the latest trailer for Art Online Alicization War of Underworld Part 2 with the opening reveal of Anima by the amazing ReoNa. At SAO Wikia we translated the trailer for you, and due to YouTube being absolute dicks and accusing me of reused content, my trailer translation videos I do with SAO Wikia are now combined with my explained/news drop content, while I share the pure trailer translation early on my Twitter and Facebook for fast access, so you may want to follow me over there as well. I'll show you now our translation of the preview uncut. First half acts as a recap, something we are familiar with, long SAO trailers at this point. Second half is full new content, and after the trailer I'll talk about it in the usual Alicization Explained fashion, so I hope you're interested in that as well to learn more about War of Underworld. Alicization Licorice OP reveal also happened with an extensive trailer, and I'll cover that later this week in detail in another video, so make sure to subscribe to not miss that. Without further ado, here is the trailer translation.
になりたいんだ。隠したものを取り戻すために。私の口が、喉が、心が覚えている。さあ、だってキリト、僕の親友、僕の永遠。ユージオ！思い出は永遠に残る。あなたの中で生き続ける。キリトとユージオが守ろうとした人海の人々を守るため戦う。 君の魂はきっと甘いだろう。だからほらまたつまずいて転がってそれでも砕けない。この体が倒れるのは心が折れた時だけなら私は命の重さをこの一撃で解くとし疲れたね。もう休もう。
久しぶりだな、先行。
敵の援軍。こんな奴ら何万人いたって負けないわ。たくさんの人があなたの心を知っているわ。私は君の魂を盗む。まるでただの茶番ではないですか。キリト君。キリト。お兄ちゃん。キリト。魂の色は何色ですか。
ソードアートオンラインアリシゼーション War of Underworld.
Ah, what is there to say? That is an incredible trailer. Even the recap portion hits so goddamn hard, and the final clip at the end just hits a ton knowing what it's all about. But that's why Alicization Explained exists. Light novel readers may know, but you deserve to know too. So welcome everyone, I'm Gamerturk, your most reliable source of Art Online news, and this is Art Online Alicization Explained for War of Underworld Part 2 Preview 2, featuring some pretty damn hard-hitting depression with one hell of a banger by ReoNa. Now, as usual, in my trailer explained videos there are naturally mild spoilers. I won't go too in-depth on context, but naturally I can't talk about the trailer without certain spoiler mentions either, so I'll share my opinions on the trailer without spoilers real quick, and then if you want to experience the anime blind, you can leave after the opinion bit, after which I will continue with mild spoilers. So, opinions, let me say this again, this is an incredible trailer. The first recap bit focusing on Kirito's past and trauma per the Human Realm arc, second bit highlighting Alice's mindset per the first half of War of Underworld, especially the Kirito bit hits real deep, the Boku no Shinyu, Boku no Eiyu bit, with the fast-paced cuts, oof, I just feel the pain. Pain and sadness is what this trailer did best in my opinion. I also love the Alice Tsuberg and Eugeo voiceovers speaking to Kirito during various bits in the trailer, incredibly fitting way to portray some future events. And Anima just kicks in and it goes completely wild. If you haven't heard the SAO 10th anniversary song till the end, well, ReoNa is the master of emotional range with her songs and lyrics, and Anima is no different. Despite being so upbeat, ReoNa's deeper voice really sells the sadness, desperation and the trauma that Alicization is for Kirito and everyone involved, while also having an incredible sense of finality to the song itself, for the lack of a better word. You know, there are just some theme songs or soundtrack pieces that makes you go, okay, now shit's coming to an end and this is it. Well, this is it. For so long I held on to Lisa as my favorite SAO performer, but I knew when I first heard her back in Agil that ReoNa would surpass Lisa in my mind, and this Sunday with Anima and Scarlet it finally happened. ReoNa is officially my favorite. Some of my favorite scenes and lines were included in this trailer, but that's for the spoiler bit, so with this short opinion section out of the way, I put my spoiler warning, and from here onwards, there will be mild spoilers, you have been warned. Okay, so we start with the mini recap bits. There are all the vital narrative points going into the final core, highlighting Eugeo's sense of justice with him wanting to become a swordman, Alice's search for truth with her vague recollection of the past, and Kirito's sense of guilt with Eugeo's final words. This bit pretty much summarizes the conditions of the three characters in less than a handful of words perfectly. The second bit is about Alice's resolve to keep moving forward and Gabrielle's obsession, and they are very well wrapped around the words of Alice Zuberg and Eugeo regarding memories calling out to Kirito. This isn't exactly how it plays out when the time comes, but it's a perfect representation of what is to come. I'll talk about it towards the very end of the trailer as well. And then the real trailer begins with Anima by ReoNa kicking in. Asuna is clearly in the ruins that is further south of where we left the anime back in episode 12. Now, from this angle alone, it's kinda hard to make out, but the continuity of these clips back to back suggests this is one of the most hopeless moments Asuna had found herself in her life. Looks up to see more lights approaching, thinking it's the enemy reinforcements. That's why you see her so broken in this shot. If these lights were more enemies, it was pretty much over for Asuna. She was giving up completely, but when the light subsides and Asuna sees the use of a skill she recognizes by heart, that is the moment warm light spills over her borderline shattered heart, with Klein entering the scene as the one true savior. You may be thinking I'm exaggerating it with Klein, but no, I'm not. I can show you the exact page so you can read for yourself, but I'd rather let you experience the roller coaster yourself with the anime. I'll make my additional remarks when the episode airs in my episode explained video if needed. In fact, part of it you can already see in the split-second transition at the beginning, that tornado effect. That is the familiar skill Asuna recognizes and has a huge sigh of relief before bursting into tears. Klein's entrance is followed by a whole lot more nostalgic faces. In the trailer alone, we see Agil, another top member of the assault team back in Aincrad, the likes of Lisbeth and Silica, and, well, you may be wondering why I highlighted Klein and Agil's reputation in comparison to Lisbeth and Silica. Well, turns out this battlefield is not quite PG-13, and just keep it in mind. If I'm mentioning something, I do it for a reason. You all know this by now after 2 years of explained videos. Leaders of other races, Sakuya of the Sylphs, Eugene of the Salamanders, and Alicia Rue of the Katesids are once again on display. I especially like Alicia with her unique claws as weaponry. We get the remaining members of the Sleeping Knights, Talken with his spear, Jun with his sword, Teki with his shield, Nori the Spriggan is not around, but I'm pretty sure she's not dead. Instead we see Dyne and Yamikaze from Art Online, and there are a lot more people to be seen. Sinon, the now leader of the Sleeping Knights after Yuki's passing, who happens to be Korean, just getting that out there for reasons. And this is just the trailer, as I said. For the event, players from all over Japan are diving into Underworld to protect the artificial floodlights, so this is pretty much the perfect opportunity for the anime to include as many cameos as possible. In the novel, since we experience the events from the point of views of various characters, the ones we definitively know to be there are the Sleeping Knights and the race leaders because Asuna knows them personally, but the variety of the crowd is mentioned quite a lot of times, like mentions of top GGO players in vague terms, leading us to see Dyne and Yamikaze, and it certainly would not be out of ordinary here to see many others that the main cast may not know by person, like the Agil cast. I can easily see someone as crazy as Pito Hui simply taking this chance to enter an ultra-realistic carnage fest without even blinking, for example. The likes of the Fatal Bullet cast, who already made some cameos in the first episode of Alicization, Kureha, Zeliska, Itsuki, Basalt Joe can easily appear in this carnage. Asuka Empire players, who have a lot of proficient sword and close quarters combat players, So we can see some characters from Sword Art Online Alternative Clover's Regret, for example, which probably none of you will recognize. Even I wouldn't recognize many of them, because Clover's Regret is not that popular. This is also a great chance to harmlessly cameo other game characters. For example, Philia and Rain, both are SAO survivors, albeit non-canon. A cameo certainly would not contradict anything regarding them. The possibilities are endless, and I am eager to see if they include more characters here. We don't see Agil and Yuna in the trailer, which just reinforces the idea that they got plans to utilize them more prominently than simple canon fodder. Anyways, back to the actual explanation rather than wishful thinking. Asuna's words over the visuals of Sleeping Knight's players following the nod of Sinue describe her situation perfectly. Until she thinks it's over, it is not over. However, the war ahead will truly be a test of spirit in a sense, and not many come out unscathed despite giving it their absolute best. Now, after she takes care of the two red knights, I mean, you can even see it from the cut. That is not exactly a continuation of that move, from that angry, determined face into a soft, happy, bright, flashing and smiling moment with shiny eyes. But Gamerturk, why do you point out such a simple thing? It feels like a nitpick. Didn't I tell you if I'm mentioning something, I'm doing it for a reason? There aren't many moments in War of Underworld where Asuna can hold up such a facial expression, and I certainly do think the background being whitewashed is peculiar. It almost seems like they took a certain Asuna layer in their project and put a white light behind the layer to hide whatever may be behind her. After all, there are a handful of times when you see Asuna with the brightest smile on her face in this series. And yes, my choice of words is on purpose. Anime onlys, figure it out yourself. Light novel readers, don't spoil the moment. With the announcement "Oh Hero," we move on to another field with Berkuli catching up to Gabrielle Miller. This is one of the best matches in the entire series. It's barely any action, I'll tell you that much, but an immense amount of psychological plays and tactics during the field from two master tacticians on their field. With a dead dragon in the background, both go at each other, and I just can't wait for this fight. But it's a fight that desperately needs time and inner monologues, so I do hope anime will not shy away from that. We see Gabe with black reptilian eyes. It's very likely that he is simply using the abilities of his god account to its full extent, rather than anything else, considering his clothing choice. We'll get back to that in a second. Another one of my favorite scenes on the trailer, Iskan and Sheta, having found the meaning of their lives, simply are satisfied with that, no longer wanting to fight, and take their well-deserved rest. I won't say anything more. But as if the scale of the war isn't big enough, we return to the ruins once more, with the ghost of the past straight out of Aincrad looming over the SAO survivors with his bloodthirsty eyes and his trusty meat chopper, and yet another set of enemy reinforcements in the back. And this is one of the many moments that breaks Asuna, not particularly the reinforcement wave in the background, but rather the person they are facing. Not just her, but other SAO survivors as well, especially the clearers like Klein and Agil, as their nightmare comes back alive, haunting them years after the events. A massive event awaits you at this moment, and yet another set of heartbreaking moments and absolute raging fury. Then we switch over to just outside the End Mountains to the north. Some people were thinking DIL was dead. I never really understood those people. The anime made it way too clear she had survived with a plan she conjured many episodes ago. And the focus of this scene is not her return anyways. It's not shown like a surprise in the books either. It's the goddess of earth Terraria taking countless injuries and being captured by the Chancellor of the Dark Mages, and you can even see Lilpilin in this scene, the leader of the orcs. In fact, DIL is more interested in Lilpilin here than torturing and sucking Leafa's health dry. That's an oversimplification of course, but it should give you an idea of the dynamics going on in this scene, and to be honest, Leafa possibly gets the second most badass character award for her actions in War of Underworld anyway, so again, one of the scenes I am really looking forward to. The ocean turtle scene with Sinon's voiceover. I'm glad they paid this much attention for a couple seconds in a trailer of all things, which really has me hyped for what is to come. Well, Sinon is talking to Kirito and holding him tight. Higa and Ko on the ocean turtle realize something regarding Kirito's floodlight, and an entire plan spawns off from this, for the better or worse. Nothing can possibly go worse, right? Right, Higa-san? For a quick glance, we see Gabriel Miller's true form, Subtilizer, but is barely noticeable and is framed in a way to not give you any idea as to what it is or what he's capable of, so I'll respect that choice of the trailer and won't say anything further. We see a red knight in the middle of a pool of blood. Now, I will speculate here a tiny bit because I did really believe they wouldn't be adapting this due to some political reasons, but that red knight looks either like taking a heroic pose, which is unlikely, or completely reconsidering everything he thought he knew. This right here may be the Korean fellow named Moonshine, who had joined the waves of Chinese and Korean players logging in as a ladder wave, but something in the story he was told felt weird to him. He fought in the wave of excitement with the mob mentality, but when it settled for a bit, his senses took over his emotions. Questions started to appear in his head, as it did with some other members. I am curious how much the anime will dive into his side of the story. It isn't even a B-plot, but it has some major effects into the main narrative, especially with the Prince of Hell commanding their multinational armies. We see Sinon and Alice together in the same scene, and I feel like I'm kinda cornered here in regards to an explanation. Whatever I say, whatever I'll mention will end up being like 5 different massive spoilers at once, so I'll just shut up. I won't say anything at all, aside from Alice not being able to come to terms with the reality of certain things as part of the truth she had been searching for, and the prices she paid for it throughout. And the final bit with everyone at their most desperate praying for Kirito, well now, as it was with the previous teaser, this is just here for the show, just for the trailer. No, people don't pray to Kirito and Kirito just comes back because of the praying. The problem is in Kirito's head, and it is something to be solved in Kirito's head as well. What's exactly the problem? A brief portion of it, you see it in the final seconds of the trailer as various moments of his life in Underworld with Eugeo flash in front of his eyes, but this bit is just a small portion of his problem, and I am eager to see how they are gonna be adapting the entire sequence, the sequence that we call the dream sequence. I mean, it is the definition of an inner monologue, so I can't say I'm not scared with the rate the anime is cutting inner monologues, but this is a very visual and extensive inner monologue, more of a journey through the past, let's say. Even includes parts of Kirito's life you didn't encounter before, so definitely a major point to look forward to. But yeah, that is the end of the trailer. Overall, the first 4 or 5 episodes tops were shown in the trailer, not further, but looking at the animation, it is appearing very, very solid. Much better than War of Underworld Part 1 trailers, which makes me really happy. This is an epic finale to the Alicization saga, and it deserves the care. Not saying previous parts didn't deserve it, in fact I am one of the biggest critiques of the Human Realm arc's second half and War of Underworld Part 1, but this trailer made me really happy. You know what else makes me happy? Lens Squad merch, drawn by the amazing Jen K. Lens Squad merch is now available on my Teespring page, so go check it out. Patrons and channel members even get a $5 discount code on their respective feeds, so don't miss out on it. But if you made it this far, comment Klein the Savior to let me know. Certainly don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on more Sword Art Online content. Like, only 14% of you are subscribed. What are you even doing? Just click the thing. It's good for you, good for me, probably good for some other stuff. Do it. As always though, thank you very much for watching, and a special thanks to all patrons and channel members. I'll see you next time, and until then, stay cool.